Hello. Okay. So, welcome to the Day One Careers Monday weekly Q&A session. It is just going to be moi on my lonesome today. Yevgeny is on yet another holiday or vacation, I suppose. Lucky him. And he's left me here to hold down the fort. So it is just going to be me today, which means it's going to be a little bit more stop-start than you are used to. But hey, I'm good for it. You can trust me. I'm a professional. Right. So whilst we're waiting for people to show up, because it always takes a few minutes, I assume people must go and get a cup of tea or some kind of beverage of their choice and maybe a cookie or a biscuit. I lack all of those today, sadly. Usually I'm munching away, actually. That's another reason why I'm sorry Evgeny isn't here, because then I can't drink my tea and have my bun. But hey, that's life, I guess. We don't get everything we want. So would you just please do me a favor and just let me know that you can definitely hear me? I can see Justina is there already. Thank you for saying hello. Do you want to just let me know that you can hear me and you can hear me properly before I keep talking anymore and potentially waste my breath? So just yeah, Gigi, we can hear you all loud and clear would be super. That would be lovely. Thank you, please. Great. You can, in fact, hear me, which is awesome. Okie dokie. So, Richard's got his coffee. Well done, Richard. Do you know what? I miss coffee. I love coffee so much. I used to have like a subscription to one of those coffee club things, and they'd send you a new type of coffee, and I'd get these beans and I'd grind them. Love coffee. And then it started to make me really ill, and I had to quit. It was like one of the saddest things of my life to have to quit coffee. Occasionally I have a cup just to treat myself, but I really miss it, Richard. So slurp away. Please enjoy it on my behalf. Okay, so where to start? Right, let me just introduce myself briefly, and then we can get into it. It's still kind of the summer holidays, vacation. I never know whether I should be speaking British English or American English, so apologies if I slip in and out both of them. But it's still in the summer, and it's a bit quiet out here and out there, so who knows who'll show up, but whoever's here, you need me, I'm here for you, so let's go. I should just say, I'm really sorry. I'm not branded today either. I'm wearing just this kind of little vest top. So I'm sorry if it's a bit more flesh than you're used to seeing. It's still a bit warm here in London. So yeah, I just didn't want to sit in my sweat box and sweat, basically. So I am Gigi. I am an ex-Amazon bar raiser. I'm sure you know all of this because you're here at our YouTube channel and you've probably seen me a million times and are sick of seeing me. But I'll tell you anyway, I worked at Amazon for about 5 years. And in that time, as all Amazonians do, I did tons and tons of interviewing. But on top of that, I became what's known as a bar raiser. I'm sure you all know what a bar raiser is. If you don't, there's a video on my YouTube channel. Of course, there's a video on the YouTube channel about it. There's a video on the YouTube channel about pretty much everything. But essentially, the joy of being a bar raiser, which makes it quite different from being just a normal hiring manager or interviewer at Amazon, is if you are a recruiter or a normal hiring manager or interviewing, you tend to do, or you do interview just around your particular role type, either around your team, or if you're a recruiter, you have a specific kind of job family that you're recruiting for. When you're a bar raiser, you can bar raise on anything, tech, non-tech, your own country, different countries, any job family. So the joy of what I got to experience is I've seen it all, inside out, upside down. I've pretty much seen it all as far as the Amazon interview process is concerned. So I can pretty much answer almost any question you have, but there are some caveats which I'll talk to you about in a few moments. While I was at Amazon, I identified, or was able to identify, those candidates that had clearly had specialist interview prep from an Amazonian. They knew what to say, they knew the language, they knew the triggers. Like, it was very, very obvious. So I kind of just, as a good Amazonian, got a little bit curious and started to look into what does it cost to get a real Amazonian to give you some coaching, and discovered that it, at least at the time, which was a couple of years ago now, it wasn't cheap. So I just started creating YouTube content, completely free, whilst I was at Amazon, YouTube content, sharing my knowledge and experience. When I left Amazon, I decided to scale that and turned it into a little bit of a hustle, running my own business. I then met Yevgeny, who, as I said, isn't here today. And we joined forces and we have what's called Day One Careers, where we have this extensive YouTube channel. We bash loads of content out on LinkedIn. We do these free Q&A sessions. And we also have our own free enormous 2,000 candidate Discord channel, which you can join if you want to. And we offer one-on-one coaching and very affordable digital courses. So this session is all part of what we try and offer you to help Amazon candidates be successful. How this works is you get to ask me almost any question that you like here on the kind of comment section on the right-hand side. Couple of caveats, as I said. The first is, please don't ask me very general questions. Hi, Gigi, I've got a product manager interview tomorrow. Any tips? Because of course I have tips. I've got 188 videos worth of tips on the YouTube channel. So I can't answer that question because it lacks any type of direction or specificity. So if that's your question, just check out the YouTube channel. On the other end of the spectrum, if you have a very specific question about your specific job family and the type of, for example, technical questions that you will get, again, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to answer that for a different reason, which is there are probably about 10,000 job families in Amazon. And from a technical standpoint, teams can ask anything they want to ask. There's no way one human being like me would know that level of detail for every single one of those 10,000 job families in Amazon. So if you ask me that type of question, I'm afraid I will find myself skipping it. But generally, we can answer. I say we, he's not even here today. Evgeny and I managed to answer, let's say, about 80% of the questions that come our way. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. So without further ado, why don't we look through the type of questions that we have? Again, I'm on my own, so it might be a little bit stilted. So do bear with me. And we will see how we get on. I will, of course, say hello to people as they come along. So we have Justina. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Araya from Michigan. Cool. Richard, who's still obviously slurping away on his coffee. I'm so jealous, Richard. Oh. We have 1588 Aga. I love when people have really funny usernames. Generally, ones I can't pronounce are hilarious. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Right. So let me just check. I've got the first question here. Oh, okay. Not hilarious. I'm sorry. Let me take this serious. Aria Pius. So you've got a loop for AWS Global Engagement Manager. You know you'll have functional behaviors. What percentage will be functional? All right. So there's no 100% answer to this, or there's no absolute answer for this, because as I mentioned a few seconds ago, teams can pretty much do what they want in terms of, well, pretty much do what they want. There is a lot of flexibility, let's say, in how teams can choose to run their interviews. Usually, when it comes to loops that have, you at Loop? Yes, you are at Loop. Oh, sorry. Just in case anyone doesn't know what Loop is, because there's lots of terminology. Loop is the final stage of interview where you will meet a series of Amazonians, anything from 4 all the way up to 8, depending on the level that you're interviewing for. I used to be able to say back to back because it used to always be on one day, but now it's like spread 1, 2, 3 days. So that's the final stage of the interview. It's called Loop. Sometimes it's called panel. Sometimes it's called final round. So anyway, you're at Loop. Teams can choose to do kind of what they want, but there tends to be 2 main structures that technical roles fall into. The first is either the actual interview technical elements are consolidated into a single or 2 interviews. So you might find yourself, if you have 5 interviews, having 2 of them that are 100% technical, and then having the other 3 that are 100% behavioral. The other model that tends to happen is the interviews themselves are split 50-50. So if you have 5 interviews, each one, half of the time is spent on the technical side of things and half of the time is spent on the behavioral. Exactly how many questions will they'll fit into the 45 minutes or the hour is depending on a huge number of variables. But that's generally the model, but there's no firm guidelines that say X percentage need to be technical and X percentage need to be behavioral. But I hope that gives you at least some direction. Okay, let's have a look what else we have. Okay, So, for a key account manager in the sub-Saharan Africa, massive expansion going on there. I'm meeting lots of candidates who are now applying to that space. So, that is super exciting. What should you expect from the 5-hour loop? Right. So, you're not technical. So, it's pretty simple. What you should expect is for each of the individual interviews you'll have, I assume, 5 individual interviews, an hour each, 100% behavioral questions. So, tell me about a time when, blah, 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 blah. Most of them will probably start with some kind of warm-up question, the ones that I hate, as you all well know. Tell me about yourself. Why Amazon? Walk me through your resume. They're warm-up questions. Don't spend too much time on them because they won't add data to the decision to hire you or not to hire you. But you will be experiencing 100% behavioral interview questions. Tell me about a time when, blah. That's what to expect. Good luck. Moving on. Oh, hello. Right, so 1588 AGA. AGA, AGA, I don't know. You're welcome. So I'm glad you found the JD review helpful. Good luck with your second phone screen. Just in case anyone doesn't know, what this is I offer a service where you can send me your job description and I will basically deconstruct all of the language on the job description, try and identify the references to the individual leadership principles, add them up, and then stack rank them. That helps you identify what the most likely, most important leadership principles are for your role. You can do this for yourself. I really strongly recommend that everybody spend some time breaking down their job description and trying to identify what seem to be the most important leadership principles. There are 2 videos on the YouTube channel that show me doing that live. So you can go check that out and try and teach yourself how to do it. Another great tip is to speak to your recruiter and ask your recruiter if they'll tell you what the most important leadership principles are. And of course, as I just did for this candidate, I offer a service to do that as well. Okay, Hemandri, hello, welcome from India. You're about 5 hours ahead, aren't you? So it's probably, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. So winding down for the day. I hope you have had a good and productive day. What other questions do we have here? Oh, wow. Sarah. I hope it's Sarah, not Sarah. Like, different people pronounce that differently. So I apologize if I made the wrong pronunciation. You've popped in a few times for an EA position. I think I remember answering some questions for you over the past couple of weeks. And you signed your offer on Friday. Yay! Congratulations, Ansel. I probably shouldn't sing. I forget that there's like real people at the other end of this, and I'm not just sat here talking to myself. Congratulations, Sarah. I'm sure you will have a fantastic Amazon career, and everyone at Day One Careers wishes you just the most successful career. Thank you for joining us, and I'm thrilled that we were able to help you. So exciting. Right. Will I be able to do a job description deconstruction today? No, sorry. It is the end of the day here now. It's 5:15 in the afternoon, and I have to go and feed my children. So the JD deconstruction has a 48-hour turnaround time because I have other commitments. So sorry, I would not be able to do that for you today. All right. What else do we have? Oh my goodness, we have another offer. This is so exciting. Honestly, this makes me so happy. Man, I love my job. Right, so you've followed my advice and videos and you went through the loop for an essay. Very cool. Also, roles massively in demand. I'm seriously considering retraining as a solutions architect. Happy to say you were offered a role. Yay! So Devlin, UK. Up the Brits. I assume UK means you're in the UK and you're not that far from me. So yay! Up the Brits. Congratulations. I'm absolutely delighted for you and thrilled that I was able to support you. I say we, obviously Day One Careers, but Yevgeny isn't here today, so he can't get any of the credit. We're delighted. We all wish you a fantastic career. Awesome. Oh my goodness, this is insane. They just keep coming. Now I definitely remember you. It's Alora, isn't it? Alora Rose. I remember I was struggling to pronounce your name. You are so welcome. That's 3 today already. It's amazing. Make sure you send your candidates our way now. Connect on LinkedIn. Any jobs you have, I will promote them for you. congratulations. I wish you a fantastic recruiter career. It's a great place to start a career as a recruiter or have a career as a recruiter at Amazon. Always so much going on. All right. So what else do we have? This is a good question. I like this question. So, are there any negative consequences to rejecting an offer? If you're still within the 6-month incline period, is it likely that any hiring manager could discard you due to having declined another role? Right. Okay. Got it. So, if you decline a role, are there any downstream consequences? No, none whatsoever. It happens all the time. People have better offers, people change their minds, whatever. No downstream consequences whatsoever. To your point about inside the 6-month incline period, let me just make sure that everybody else understands this, Jean. If you have an inclined offer at Amazon, that offer is good for 6 months. Now, when I say the offer is good for 6 months, you have been deemed to be inclined to a hire for that specific role, job type, job family. So, I don't know. I was an L7 marketer. That actually translates to what is it now? A marketing level 3, I think it is, something like that. Anyway, they have these internal job family names. It's not the same as what you see on the job description. But effectively, if I was given an offer tomorrow from Amazon for a marketing level 3, then that offer is good for 6 months. And if I decline someone making me an offer tomorrow, and I don't fancy that job or my family circumstances have changed, I still have on the system an inclined for that level, that role. So if in 4 months' time, another manager in another team is hiring for a marketing level 3, I am pre-approved. And they could simply get their recruiter to pick up the phone to me because I'll be on the system and showing as pre-approved to say, Gigi, we'd love to have a chat with you about this role. I could go in, have a single chat with the hiring manager, and because I'm pre-approved, they could hire me. So no downstream consequences of having declined an offer. And does that make any future hiring manager who's digging around, or the recruiter's digging around in hire looking for a good prospect, less inclined to, I shouldn't use the word inclined, less likely to be interested in you because you've already declined an offer? I don't think so. I think they would jump on you. I hope that helps. And I hope that explanation was clear to everybody. If it wasn't, let me know. All right. What else do we have here? Interesting. Okay. So thank you for marking it as one of two as well. That's really helpful. I appreciate that. So you got an inclined last month for an L4 solutions architect, another essay. The role was filled. Yes, that happens all the time. And you should keep checking for similar roles in your region. Now the recruiter is ghosted. Let's be clear, the recruiter has not ghosted you. I know it might feel like it to you, but that recruiter's job is not to get you a job. That recruiter's job is to work with you on that particular role that they were hiring for. They've told you that you are not inclined for that role and that you should keep applying for other roles. They've not ghosted you. You're just not part of their role responsibilities anymore. If they sometimes recruiters have enough bandwidth to be able to keep engaging with candidates because they're just trying to do their very best, but they haven't ghosted you. Your relationship with that recruiter has come to an end because the role that they were hiring for has been has been filled by somebody else. Okay, that point said, you keep getting rejected to all jobs you've applied to so far in other regions. Okay, what do I think you should do? Roles like that don't often open in your country, location Nigeria. Well, all you can do is keep applying. There's kind of no real other answer to that. You can certainly keep an eye on LinkedIn and follow other recruiters that are hiring for those types of positions, network with them, try and make contact with them, see if they'll engage with you. But that's really the extent of what you can do. One of the challenges that you're obviously going to have is around right to work. If you're applying from Nigeria to go and work in the US or to go in Europe or in the UK, there will be visa requirements. And therefore, that might be a reason why you're finding your applications rejected by these other countries, because it's a lot of hard work to try and organize visas for people to move into international locations. If you've got candidates in your location that meet all of the requirements, I'm afraid they're going to trump someone who you'd have to sponsor to bring into your country. So that might be one of the reasons why you're struggling. Keep applying. Try and find recruiters who are hiring for solutions architect roles, of which there are many. Follow them on LinkedIn, interact with them, engage with them. Don't connect with them instantly and say, please, can I have a job? Find me a job, because that's never going to happen. But certainly engage with their content, comment on it, show appreciation. And then after a while, having built up some kind of a relationship in the broadest sense of the term, then maybe you might reach out to them for a little bit of advice and ask them what their thoughts are in terms of what you should be doing next. So I'm sorry, I know that's not the answer, the silver bullet you were looking for, but I'm afraid that is the answer. Okay, what else do we have here? Excuse me, I'm going to cough, which means I'm just going to put this on mute for a second. Sorry, I didn't want to cough in your eardrums. That would not have been nice. Okay. What else? Oh, I'm scrolling. There's a bit of chit chat here, which is lovely. Please do feel free to chat to each other here in the comments. It's all just one big community. Okay. Harry, you're just saying hi. Nice. Oh, Harry. This is really annoying. Oh, you're just saying hi, which is sweet. I really do appreciate that. But yeah, there are lots of pushbacks, cancellations, rescheduling happens. Summer is such a pain in the bottom. I was trying to think what's the right word to use. It's such a pain in the derrière when it comes to scheduling, because so many people are obviously on vacation, holiday, kids are not at school, which, oh, trust me, is such a nightmare. So yeah, it's not fun. Just stick with it, Harry. You will get there in the end, I am sure. Oh, it's coming up tomorrow. Woo, fingers crossed. Right. Okay, Sherry, I love your hair. Super cool. Do I know how many rounds for the leaves of ascent disability positions? I get the feeling there may be some typos in there, Sherry, but I think I can just answer the question broadly. The answer is going to be no. I don't know how many rounds, because as I said a little bit earlier, teams really do have a lot of flexibility about how they play their interview process out. So there are some software development engineering teams that are just sending candidates straight to loop. No round one, no round two. They just do the online assessment straight to loop. There are other teams that will do the full online assessment, round one, round two, and then loop. So I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to your question. And I think the only person that's going to know the answer to your question is going to be your recruiter. So please do ask your recruiter. Okay, moving on then. Okay. I get this question all of the time, Joe, all of the time. So can I honestly, I wish I could make these things smaller. There's no functionality to make these things smaller. It drives me crazy. You are welcome. You attended your loop on Friday. You got an email today from your recruiter asking for a feedback call on my loop. Is it a good or bad sign in my view? It's neither. It's both. It could go either way. Like some recruiters are able to have calls with candidates to let them know that they were unsuccessful as well as successful. Other recruiters don't have the bandwidth to speak to candidates and let them know that they haven't been successful. It could be either. So, Joe, good luck. Fingers crossed. I hope it is a positive outcome for you. But yeah, there's no way of me knowing one way or the other. Could be either. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, great. So, Laura, we're already connected on LinkedIn. So that's cool. That's cool. Okay. Himradis. Right. So, if Excel and SQL SQL isn't mentioned in the job description, should you expect some hands-on tests for MS Excel and SQL, like the tech people gets related to programming language? For I'm asking for a non-tech PM. Yeah, if you're a non-tech PM, I see no reason why anybody would be testing you for your SQL skills, etc. So I would go out on a limb and say I think it's very unlikely. You can always check with your recruiter, but if there's no mention of those skills required in the job description and it's a non-tech PM role, I see no good reason why anyone would be testing you on those. Oh, thank you. Someone likes my glasses. I appreciate that. I'm a bit yeah, I love glasses and I found a really, really amazing website. If anyone would like to know about an amazingly cheap website where you can get fantastic glasses for an absolute bargain, hit me up on LinkedIn and I'll send you the link. I should probably be like a affiliate for them because I tell everybody they're so amazing. But yes, I love different types of glasses. My husband's just had that laser eye surgery done. I can't just the idea of them shooting lasers in my eyes, like, oh. So no, I should be wearing glasses forever. But thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay. What else have we got? All right. So Richard Brownrigg, a friend of mine. Is it really a friend of yours, Richard? You know, asking for a friend? Hey, we'll go with it. Let's pretend it is your friend. Okay. They're going for an L4 IC individual contributor manager. That's an oxymoron, Richard. There cannot be an individual contributor manager. You're an individual contributor, which means you don't manage any people, or you're a manager, which means you manage people. An L4 can't be a manager. So what I think you're saying to me is your friend is going for an L4 role. Great. Okay. Will she have a loop interview as well? Yes, everybody does. Are they less demanding? Well, less demanding than what? It's a relative term. So it will be demanding for an L4. If someone who's an L8 level leader did an L4 loop, it would be less demanding for them, right? So it kind of depends on your frame of reference. So no, they don't make it easy on L4s. The process at Amazon is a high bar, rigorous process for that level that you're interviewing at. The main difference I would say for an L4 is she might not see a bar raiser. They're kind of scaling up this process of not having bar raisers actually interview candidates. They're there in the background. They run the debriefs, but they never actually meet the candidates themselves. So I would say as a level 4, they're likely to have maybe 3 interviewers and no bar raiser. So less demanding, yes, because obviously an L8 gets up to 8 interviewers, which is far more than 3 interviewers. But for an L4, even 3 interviewers is still quite a tough interview process, given that most other interview processes, you'll probably only ever meet one person. So I wish your friend the very best of luck. I hope it goes well. Oh, I'm knocking him out the park today. Stephen Hazard. You should be a film star, right? With a name like Stephen Hazard, that is just too cool to work at Amazon. Not that Amazon isn't cool, but that is a name meant for a movie star. But hey, we'll pass that. After watching our channel, you were able to get your Pass the Loop and you're starting next month as a cloud infrastructure architect. Yay, Stephen. That's amazing. Congratulations. And everyone at Day One Careers obviously wishes you a fantastic Amazon career. And we're delighted to have been able to help you. And let me know if you do end up deciding to go into the movies so that I can claim credit for having discovered you. Okay, let's move on there. Right. So, folks, we are getting to the bottom of the question queue, which doesn't surprise me. As I said, it's still kind of the summer and there's not a lot of people around. So, usually I run for an hour, but hey, we can cut this short to half an hour. I can go and have a cup of tea and a bun. Right. Not coffee, sadly. Right. What else do we have here? Okay. Renee. Are there levels for non-tech roles? I have an interview for a regional accommodations consultant. Okay. And I'm unsure if there is a level you should know about. Well, yes, there are levels for all roles, obviously, because there is a hierarchy in the organization. So the organization runs from L1 all the way up to, I think Andy is L12, something like that. There's no L9, bizarre, but there is not. And every single job family will have different levels. Now, not every single job family will start at 1, and they certainly don't go all the way up to 12, but most job families will have a run of 3 or 4 different levels. So, for example, marketing starts at an L4. You never employ a marketer below L4. And then you'll get up to a marketing director at, say, L8. And then when you get up to VP, you're no longer just going to cover one particular discipline. You'd be a VP of marketing and product or something along those lines. So yes, your job will definitely have a level. I can't tell what that level is from the nomenclature that you've just shared. It doesn't conform to the more standard nomenclature where it's easy to guess. So I couldn't tell you what the level is. Another cue that I try to use to work out levels when people have these job titles is the number of years experience being asked for. That's a good indicator of the level. That's a bit broad though. Generally, my rule of thumb would be kind of 15 years plus. You could expect to be L7, L8, somewhere between 8 and 15 years. You could probably expect to be an L6. Anywhere from kind of 5 to 8 years, you could expect to be an L5, and then kind of working your way down from there. But there are plenty of countries that you don't have the number of years experience mentioned on the job description because it's illegal, like in my country. So that data wouldn't be available to me. So why don't you have a look at your job description and maybe ask your recruiter, because it might be useful for you when you want to try and wrap your head around what a reasonable compensation framework might look like for your role. And knowing the level would be helpful in that context. I hope that was so helpful. Oh, Dad. Oh, you're not my dad, sadly. But it's Isaac. Isaac, hello. Ah, cool. I'm really excited. It's me, Isaac. It's so cute. I know so many Isaacs, so I have no idea what Isaac you are, but I do know you're not my dad. But thank you so much for recommending my videos, and I wish them the very best of luck. Fingers crossed. Tell them to come to the Q&A if they have any questions, Isaac. See you later. I love this. It's so funny. Right. Alex, were you not here at the start of the video? No? All right. So at the beginning of the video, I said, please do not ask me generic questions like I have an interview next week for a program manager. Any tips? Because it's way too general. Of course I have tips, Alex. I've got like 188 videos on the YouTube channel of tips. All of them will be relevant to you with the exception of probably the military video, the video about graduates, and the video about software development managers, and the video about software development engineers. Everything else, 100 and I lost 4. So 184 of them are totally relevant for you. So go check them out. And then if you have a very specific question, come back and ask me. Cool. Game Slayer. That's a cool handle. Damn cool handle. Right. I've got to do something with mine. Gigi's just not cool enough. Game Slayer. Serious. Okay. Hamza. Equally cool name, Hamza. Equally cool name. No, I will not ignore your account name. It's awesome. It's awesome. Don't be ashamed of your account name. Okay, so you've got a final selection interview for Amazon tomorrow for a new grad SDE. Cool. But what do I suggest for those who don't have experience in SDE to do? No, this is fine, Hamza. I want to call you Game Slayer. I'm just going to call you Game Slayer. It's so much more fun, right, Game Slayer? It doesn't matter that you don't have experience as a dev because you're a grad, and they wouldn't expect you to have experience as a dev because you're a grad. So this is what you're going to need to do. You are probably going to have some coding questions. So I'm assuming you have those skills. You just need to pass those coding tests. Then what you're going to need to do is prepare yourself for the behavioral questions. Now, you should go and watch the video about graduates, which is counter to what I told Alex a second ago, because that gives you some really good clarity about how, even as a student, having not had any professional experience, you can find a way to answer the behavioral questions. It's all about finding a connective frame of reference for the language used in the question. So, for example, a question might ask you. I'm definitely not a graduate, sadly. Might ask you, tell me about a time where you needed the cooperation of a peer and they were resistant. Well, in a professional context, I'd obviously be thinking about my colleagues in work. You don't have that. So maybe you could think about, for example, someone who was on a committee with you at school, university, college, whatever they call it, where you are. Maybe they were on a committee with you and they were a peer and you wanted them to do something and they didn't want to do it. Or maybe they were a person on your project group and you were running a project together, and same scenario goes. So there's just a couple of different kind of concepts that you need to find an equivalent bridge to in your academic career, so that when you're asked the questions, you can just do that quick mental bridge in your head and find your example. So please, I would really love it if you could just check out that graduate video. I think that will help you enormously, Game Slayer. Cool. I think you should use Game Slayer when you meet your interviewers at Amazon. I think that would be super cool. You're a dev. It's fine. They'll be super fine with that. Okay. What else do we have? All right. Let me just cover this one off. Oh, how would I spell that or say that? Would that be Texas? I'm sorry if I have butchered that. Please apologize to your parents for me. Right, you've got a cloud support engineer coming up. Watching the video is great. Any tips on how to prepare for the first interview? And any idea if there'll be the loop? Okay, so there is a video on the YouTube channel, you won't be surprised to hear, which is about the first interview. So go watch that. It's a bit of an anything goes scenario with the first interview. So check out the video and it will at least guide you through what some of the potential pathways that your interviewer might go down for your interview. And then in terms of will there be a loop? Well, yes, there will be a loop, but you have to get through your first interviews first. So you'll probably, you're a cloud support engineer, it's not a dev. So all likelihood is you'll have multiple rounds, whether it's 2 early phone screens and then loop, or 1 phone screen and then loop. Who knows? Or at least I don't know. Your recruiter will. So you can always check with them. But yes, there will always be a loop. No one ever gets into Amazon without going through a loop. Okay, moving on then. Oh, Alex, you're telling me you've watched all the videos. Then you have everything, Alex. I've not been holding anything back. You have bled me dry in those YouTube videos. Well, I tell a lie, actually. I am holding some stuff back. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a business, right? My business is all built around the leadership principles and helping coach people around really, really understanding the leadership principles, which, by the way, I should have said at the beginning, hang around for a few more minutes and I will give you a freebie as regards that, which you will absolutely, totally love. Right. So I still have a few questions coming in, but what I'm just going to do is pause very momentarily here and ask you to do me a favor. Clearly, I've worked very, very hard to do you a big favor and do this whole channel with all of this content, but the only way that anybody ever sees this content is if the algorithm presents it to them. And in order to get the algorithm to present my content, the algorithm has to think my content is good. I say it's ours. Yevgeny's going to shoot me. It's just because he's not here. I'm sorry, Yevgeny. Our content is good. And the only way the algorithm knows that our content is good is if you, when you watch it, watch a lot of it. No, don't just click on it and off skis. Right, that's a bad signal. But when you watch it, watch a lot of it and then give it, please, a thumbs up or a comment. That tells the YouTube algorithm that the content is good and that they've served that content to the right person. And it then lifts us up in the algorithm. One of the problems with the YouTube algorithm, which I'm sure you've noticed, is it has a bias towards tenure. The longer something has been on the platform, the more likes it accrues just because it's old. But the more likes something has is a direct input into the algorithm. So what you can find is really old, quite frankly, I was going to swear. Don't swear, Gigi. They're not all British. Quite old, poor content surfacing really high in the algorithm just because it's been there for a while. So don't let that happen, please. Give us a like. Give us a little comment. Please watch a good old chunk of the content and it will help us out massively. In order to give you a few seconds to do that for this particular stream, I'm going to play a crazy little video. I need to make a new one of these because I'm getting bored of looking at them. And it would just give you like 14 seconds. That's how long the video is, to just give this video a thumbs up. Okay, here we go. Live to stream. Live to stream. Live to stream. There we go. Slightly bonkers, but I'm British. I'm allowed to be bonkers. What else do we have here then? Okay, let me scroll back up. Okay. Well, this is a very common question, Jackie. Is that you in the image there, Jackie? That's very cool. I would really love a day racing a Aston Martin. I love Aston Martins. Yeah, I bet that was a fun day. Anyway, so can we use examples from the phone interview in the loop? Yeah, I know we're not supposed to reuse examples in the loop. Look, okay. So from our perspective, the same rule really applies. And it's not a rule, like it's a kind of a philosophy from day one careers. Avoid repeating examples if you possibly can, because if you don't repeat anything, it looks like you just have this constant stream of amazing stories to tell. And that just is very exciting for Amazonians. Sometimes that's not possible and you do have to repeat. So yes, you can repeat between phone screen and loop. But again, our advice would be exactly the same as it would be in terms of the advice we would give you in loop, which is if you have to repeat a story, use it for a different leadership principle. Find an alternative version of that story that leans really heavily into a very different leadership principle. So leadership principles that are quite different might be customer obsession and dive deep, or bias for action and learn to be curious. I don't know, but they are very different leadership principles. They mean very different things, and you can make a story sound very, very different if you're using it for those different ones. If you use customer obsession version of a story and then use it for earn trust, it's very hard to make that story seem very different because, of course, there's so much overlap between customer obsession and earning trust. So that's our advice. There are no rules here, right? There's nobody written down anywhere in Amazon that thou shalt not repeat. It's simply kind of best practice, a bit of advice that we think gives you the best opportunity for Amazonians to see that you are constantly delivering unique and high bar performances in your career history. Hope that helps, Jackie. Okay. Okay. Yeah, good story. Oh, it's you again, Jackie. God, you're getting them all out. Okay. You've got the writing exercise due this week. Can use the star format in the essay. I definitely have a video about this one, Jackie, so go check it out. But yes, I like to give people the advice to use the star format for two reasons. Number one, the question that you're asked in your writing sample, unless you are a solutions architect and they get a particular kind of technical presentation to do, or maybe legal because they have to do a different structure. But anyone who's asked to do the writing sample, which uses one of the behavior questions, there's an invent and simplify one, and there's an I'll write a lot. It's the same question that someone would ask you from the Amazon interview question back, actually in an interview. And you would use the star format if they asked it of you in the actual interview. So why wouldn't you use the star format when you're using it for the writing sample? I would just suggest that you don't put situation, task, action, result in the titles. It's just not necessary. You just need to know that that's the point in the story that you are. So yeah, it's definitely a good structure. It will keep you on point. And I have plenty of tips about kind of the quality of that writing. Be specific, be concise. Don't use weasel words, quote very specific data points, all of those things. But definitely check out the video. It's a very popular one. Lots of people tell me that they love it. Okay, moving on. What else do we have? Oh, say hello to a few people. Ravi, hello. Tejas, hello. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. What other questions do we have? Rajesh, you interviewed a year ago and didn't get an offer. What are the chances the second time will be any different? I'm not sure how to answer that, Rajesh, because it depends on one key variable, and that's you. So it will depend on how well prepared you were last year versus if you put in tons more preparation this time. It will depend if you've had a whole bunch of amazing examples in the past year that you could call on for your interview this time that you didn't have last year. If all things being equal, if you didn't do anything new or different, the chances of it being any different the second time are zero because the bar will only have gone up from a year ago. But I'm assuming, Rajesh, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't just rock up and not do any more preparation. So I won't say it's all down to you because it's not. There's a whole bunch of variables that have nothing whatsoever to do with anything that you can control. But many, many people get offers the second time, the third time round. So odds I cannot share, but is it possible to get a different outcome than a failure outcome in a subsequent interview? Absolutely. Many, many people do. Okay. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Okay, just going to do this one here for Akhtar. Is that right? I'm so sorry. So sorry. How much of the loop is focused on assessing your technical skills or is largely just focused on behavioral questions? Depends on the team. Different teams do it different ways. Speak to your recruiter and ask them. Okay. Akash. So you found us recently. You saw the program manager interview with Rim. She's fantastic. Love Rim so much. Any playlist you'd suggest? So I've got to be honest with you, Akash, and I'm being vocally self-critical here. I have to sort out my playlists. They've been long-standing for a long time, and it's not the most organized channel. I will admit that. So why don't you watch my Get Started playlist? Because I think that has the most important ones in there. And then I'm going to add to my ClickUp sprint this week because Evgeny is away. I'll use the time well, and I'm going to sort out a whole bunch of new playlists. So you can hold me accountable to that. I'm sorry it's not the high quality that I would want from a playlist point of view, but check out the Get Started, and then hopefully that will kind of lead you to have other questions, and you will find other videos and answers to those questions. I promise you. Good luck. Okay. All right. So, Tejas, you tried the online assessment, but the platform provide during assessment won't work properly, like nested for loops and so on. How can you overcome such a thing? If you're having technical problems, there should be some kind of information on the invitation to solve technical issues or raise issues with the technical team. If you really cannot find any information on your invitation about how to technical troubleshoot, email the recruiter back. Okay. Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you, Richard, that doesn't make sense, but I think you've asked me the question again a bit later, so I'll come down to it in a minute. Well, hey, Alisa, hello. You are most welcome. This is number 5 of the session, I think. I'm so excited. What a great day. You are very, very welcome. Congratulations. I wish you a fantastic Amazon career. L6s, they're big jobs. So you really must have blown them away with your performance. So congratulations. I wish you a fantastic career. And don't forget me when you start interviewing, hiring people yourself, send them my way. All right. All right. So Richard, so your first interview was with the hiring manager and she passed you to the loop. Does that play into your favor? Richard, it depends. It may just be that is the process, that they only have one phone screen and then move you straight to loop. It may also be that their standard process is to have 2 phone screens and they loved you so much, she decided not to bother with a second phone screen. I know that happened to me when I was being hired by Amazon. So I don't know. There's nothing you can do to control it, right, Richard? Knowing whether it meant anything or not doesn't really change anything for you. So don't worry about it. Just, double down, do all your prep and do the best that you can. Everything else is really outside of your control. All right. What else do we have here? Okay, Game Slayer. Yeah, absolutely. If you worked in retail, brilliant. That'd be amazing to be able to bring that up. That's awesome. When answering these questions, we should smoothly mention leadership principle if we can. No, no, that's not the way it works. Don't drop in. I showed customer obsession and helped this customer solve their problem. No, 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 no. Um, you need to show the behaviors of the leadership principle. Just saying I demonstrated customer obsession is not evidence that you demonstrated customer obsession. You would have to show the behaviors of customer obsession. For example, explaining the story around the fact that the customer wanted to buy one thing and that you knew that that was the wrong thing for the customer, and describe to me how you approached it with the customer. What did you say? What did they say back to you? How did you try and convince them that what you were suggesting was better than what they were imagining for themselves? How hard did you try to convince them? Blah, blah, blah. You've got to demonstrate customer obsession. You don't have to say, I showed customer obsession. Please stay until the end. I'm going to give you a free course on customer obsession. And hopefully, what I've just told you will become incredibly clear around how you talk about a leadership principle. Cool. Moving on, moving on, moving on. Okay. Okay. I totally don't understand this, Jackie. If you are given the task to add one more leadership principle to the list, which one would you add? Don't understand. Ask me again in a different way. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Makina. So Amazon doesn't give feedback. No, they don't. Is there a way to try and get feedback from the recruiter after interviewing if not given an offer? All you can do is ask. Right? Or they'll do, and they might say they'll probably say no, but that's all you can do. There's no other way of getting feedback. You can't contact your interviewers and ask your individual interviewers to give you feedback because they'll tell you no as well. It's company policy not to give feedback, but you can reach out. I say you can't reach out and ask them. Of course you can, but they'll probably say no. There's no harm in asking, I suppose. And sometimes people get lucky and people decide to disregard company policy. In most cases, they won't, but there's not going to be a black mark against your name, I suppose, if you reach out to your interviewers and see if they'll give you any insight. Hope that kind of helped a little bit. Okay. Okay. Okay, Satish. Interesting. You didn't make it through an L7. You applied for an L6 and you've cleared the hiring manager phone screen. You've asked the recruiter if you can have a shorter loop with 3 people. Will they agree? No, absolutely not. No one's ever going to run an L6 loop for 3 people. No, you can have an L4 loop for 3 people if you want to apply for an L4 maybe, but no, you don't get to dictate the terms, I'm sorry, Satish, of your interview process. It's their process, and there is, I'm afraid, no way anyone's going to run a mini loop, which is what a 3 people loop would be, for an L6 for someone that hasn't shown bar raising qualities in any interview that they've had so far. Does it look bad if you ask? Does it look bad? No, but your recruiter will simply say what I've said, which is no, doesn't work like that. No black mark against your name. No one other than the recruiter will ever know that you asked that question. They're not going to share it with anybody, but it seems a bit pointless to me because they will never say yes. Okay, moving on. Oh, what extra leadership principle would I choose? Well, I wouldn't make a 17th one. I've got to be honest with you, Jackie. 14 was fine. 14 was fine. Actually, I would take those last 2 away, to be honest with you. I don't think they're actually leadership principles for individuals in Amazon. They are, I think, what would you call them? Corporate visions, perhaps, but they're not individual leadership principles. Leaders don't strive to be Earth's best. Leaders dive deep. Leaders show ownership. Leaders earn trust. Leaders strive to be Earth's best employer. No, that's Amazon. Leaders, success and scale bring broad responsibility. No, that's Amazon too. So I'm going to change your question. I would not add a 17th. I'd take away the last 2. No one uses them. Sorry, I know that didn't answer your question. That was really cheeky. Sorry, but this is my time and I decide. Power. Sorry, I'm going a bit stir crazy here. Right, I think we'll have one more, and then I'm going to give you the best freebie that you'll ever get on an Amazon interview. So let me just have a look. Oh, okay. Manuel, you have your second phone interview on Friday for a newly created position. Cool. Your first phone call was the hiring manager and prospective, not perspective. Should you expect the bar raiser from the next interview? No, you won't see a bar raiser until you get to loop. Bar raisers do not get involved in the process until someone has made it to the final round. So I would say the next round, if it's a second phone screen, will be with one of your peers. So someone else who works for the person that you met last time. Okay. Monica Cortez, you're asking me, did I see your question above? I must not have if I jumped it, or I might have jumped it because I couldn't answer it. So ask it again, Monica. I don't see it. Cut and paste, cut and paste. Right, no, Monica, didn't see it, can't see it. I'm scrolling, can't see it. So why don't you just quickly cut and paste it again? Right. Whilst Monica, I haven't seen it at all, Monica. I'm scrolling all the way to the top and I cannot see your name. So shall I sing a song whilst Monica cuts and pastes her last question? Oh, it's not letting you. Oh, Monica, sometimes if you put like a URL in there, a link to anything else, it won't show up the question. It's got some kind of a blocker on it. So if you put a link in, that's probably why. So find a way of asking the question in the next 1 minute without putting the link in, and you will probably be able to post it. Right. So, oh, Monica, you've been on my Discord. Monica, are you on my Discord community? Because I've seen someone on the Discord community talking about EA versus EA2. If you are, why don't you ask me the question on the Discord community rather than here, and I will answer it for you. Okay, I'm going to assume that is you on my Discord. All right, so everybody, do not go. I want you to go and check out this amazing free course. Go to day one. I always start at the wrong end. You'd think after all this time I'd work out which side the silly thing starts at, but it's so embarrassing. Right, if you go here, you can get a free course, a free taster course. It's on customer obsession. It is a complete deconstruction of the customer obsession leadership principle. Day One Careers, we have created a unique learning model for how to understand the leadership principles. We break it into its component facets, we call it. We are the only people that structure the learning kind of process this way. It's unique to us unless anyone's copied it. 4 facets to customer obsession. Teach you all about those. It will tell you pretty much exactly what your interviewer is looking for in your customer obsession answer. And there's a mock interview there of me interviewing me, different makeup, hair, whatever. And you can see how it all comes together in an interview. It also gives you access to the Discord community that I was talking about a second ago. We've got like 2,000 Amazon prospective candidates on that community, all chatting with each other. Yes, Monica is the person on the community. So Monica knows, all chatting with each other, all trying to help each other out. They do mock interviews between them, all sorts. You can only get access to it if you get that course. So please do go and take that course. I'm sure you'll love it, but the community is invaluable as well. Okay, so on that note, I am going to sign off now. I will just me on my own again next week. Evgenia is still on vacation next week. Such a lucky person. So if you can bear to just deal with me, I will be here. For those of you who managed to land roles, congratulations. So delighted for you. If you have interviews coming up, fingers crossed for you. Please do take out that course. Get joining the Discord community. It's so valuable. I promise you will absolutely love it. Until then, take care and make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Stay safe all. Bye.